But what I'll say to that is, yes, you will want to play Warzone, and we will all play Warzone with you. But don't be a jerk if the others want to play multiplayer at Warzone.
That's a big ask.
Just in general, Ken, not just necessarily about Warzone.
Amen, brother.
Hey, and welcome back to another episode of Old Guys Playing Games. We are back, and we've played a little bit more of, you guessed it, Call of Duty. But we're not going to all talk about Call of Duty today, but we do have a couple of topics we do want to talk about. Then we'll talk about Activision, some of the stuff that they've done recently that has caused some distress amongst the gamers. So let's talk real quick. Stuart and I finally got an opportunity to play co-op last night, and we played the first mission, and Jason and Josh had already played it about a week ago. And I must say that is the type of gaming that I love. I absolutely love that. Now, I don't love that Stuart was a little bit aggressive, and he got us into a little trouble, but it was so awesome. I like that you were playing the sniper role, and you were looking out for me and pegging people off and saving my life. That was great. While I went in there and tried to get the missile coordinates or missile pieces or whatever. I love the back to back type. I like for us to do more of that. I want to play that mission again. That was great. So
yeah, I take your critiques to heart. But I would like to point out that when we started it and I was sniping off the water tower and I was plunking people left and right.
Oh, yeah.
And you could not find the thing you were supposed to find.
That's true.
I'm like, I've had enough. I'm coming in.
Well, you ran out of things to shoot.
I just ran out of bullets is what was. Yes, I did.
Is that then I came the first mission?
Yes. And there were tripwires, lots of them. And Ken told me how to get them. And I sort of was like, I don't know if I didn't hear it or I didn't understand. Like I didn't see what he was talking about, and then apparently one of my things must have touched it because I kept blowing up. And there were a lot of claymores.
Is that the one
really
after
good
you
job
do
with
that?
it?
You go on the really long car ride.
No,
that must be mission 2.
No, this was mission 1 where you had to find the pieces of the missiles or the warheads. Yeah, you had a Geiger counter you're walking around with, and trying to find where the warheads were and disable them or collect them or whatever.
Yeah, then you got to run like George Clooney and the other two guys, and Oh Brother from the police, trying to get to the helicopter.
Yeah,
well, I mean, we were hauling butt.
Yeah,
like, Ken went down. I guess there was a weird glitch. Like Ken jumped in the water, the same water I was in. He died the minute he touched the water. So I think that's probably. And then I revived him, and then he died right away. Like literally, just dropped dead again, which was weird. But then once we got past, that was fine. He did die again.
Yeah.
And this time there was a juggernaut standing over his dead body, which was fun.
Yeah, so, that was tough.
It was fun. I liked it. It was actually a pretty good match. The AI was okay. I mean, I don't know if we were playing on normal mode probably. So.
I don't know. I didn't even look to see if there was I guess you can change the difficulty. I haven't looked.
Yeah, it was fun though. I do wish it was more than 2.
Oh God, me too. I really needed another set of guns to help me when I was inside the house, but. Because I think there was probably 6 guys that came in, even though you took out like 8 guys outside. So it was good. But man, if you do it quietly, you'll do fine. But if you go guns blazing, also it didn't sound like our weapons were silenced.
I think they were suppressed, but not silenced. I think the sniper was definitely silenced. I think the AKs or the ARs were suppressed.
Okay.
I did drive a car into the water to save you too.
You did, and I appreciate that.
Yes, well.
So, anyway. Jason, Josh, that wasn't the same mission you guys played?
Yeah, we finished that one. So.
Yeah, so did we just did it last night.
Similarly, I played the role of Ken, and Jason played the role of Stuart.
So. Were you on the water tower, Jason? It's a lovely spot.
No, Jason was like, I was like, Jason, let's just go slow hold here. It trips up all the enemies, and all of a sudden getting shot at.
The water tower was fun. It's just I ran out of guys.
Yeah.
But it is fun. It is disappointing, as we've talked about in a couple episodes now, that the 4 of us can't play together. It's
Agreed.
just really annoying.
Agreed.
I'll tell you what,
Which
I think it would be interesting but frustrating at the same time if all four of us were playing, but we were 2 and 2 playing the same map, and then it would get confusing because we would call out enemies and it would be really hectic and a little bit funny. But so what about the co-op did we not like besides the fact that there were only 2 players? Was there anything about it that we think that they need to brush up, polish?
I mean,
The
that
AI
one map
was a
where
little weak.
you have to drive like 10 minutes across is kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But
Where'd you
I
have
mean,
to
I
drive? Where'd
think
you have to drive?
We haven't done that.
it's like you do something in the beginning of the map, and then you have to get in a truck and drive. It's no joke, like 2 or 3 minutes.
Oh, is that the second mission then?
I think so. I think it's the
Oh,
second one.
okay.
Yeah, you're in the desert doing something, and
How
pretty
many are
bad.
there? Do we know?
3.
4.
4 missions. That's it.
I think so. Right?
I think there's only
3.
3.
Oh, sorry.
Ugh.
Right.
I mean, I think it kills it for us because it's only a 2-player. Like,
Yeah.
we just, and plus
Welcome
the
to the
multiplayer is so
conversation,
much
Josh.
fun.
Wow.
I
Josh?
didn't get to finish my thought, Mister Jump in and be an a-hole. I think the reason why we don't have much commentary on it is because the multiplayer is so good,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think if the multiplayer wasn't so good, we might be heading to the co-op a little bit more. But
Well, I think they did a pretty good job of tying in the story. I mean, there's an opener in the first mission that has I can't remember her name, but the CIA leader that gave us all our missions, and that carried over from the I don't want to say carried over like finish the story, but I think it was probably stories that were happening at the same time as the main campaign, which I like, kind of like Rogue One was happening during Star Wars, the first movie. So I just kind of like that seeing what else is going on elsewhere in the story.
Yeah. I agree.
Well, we'll play more of it. I definitely want to play more of it, and I'm pretty sure there have been numerous times where there have been only a pair of us on at one time, and maybe that might be the opportunity for us to go ahead and jump into a co-op to kind of finish the story and finish the co-op. So
we can finish later,
Ken.
Ken, if you want to do it tonight. I can do some stuff probably.
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, now let's stray away from the Call of Duty gameplay and talk about some of the things that is happening around the game. So apparently, as we have all mentioned in past episodes, that once the game has been released, we noticed that there was a map missing. The museum map was missing, and we weren't really hearing much about it. Well, apparently what happened was Activision didn't ask permission to map out the likeness of that museum in the game. So they were forced to have to remove that map from the gameplay. And then we happened to hear about another one this morning or yesterday. Apparently, the Greenberg Hotel is also in talks to have them remove that map as well. So that's kind of crazy. Why? First of all, why would they even model the map after something and not ask permission? How would they even get what the inside looks like? Just have a bunch of people going in there as thinking that they were enjoying the museum or enjoying the hotel.
But I didn't. Did you read that part of the story? Did it say that it accurately represents what the inside looks like?
I didn't actually. That's a good point. I should have looked at that a little bit deeper to see if the inside's mapped or if it was just the outside. I don't know if it even says that, but I definitely need to understand that better. But how does that even happen?
Well, if they did that, if they really did represent the inside just like the real hotel, that's crazy. But if it's just like the outside and they sort of fictionally represented the interior, I think that's not a big deal. But the first would be egregious if they went in, took a bunch of photos, or even scanned it.
My guess is they took the outside and redid the inside. But either way, it's going to upset a hotel. I would imagine that they're being used for a. Yeah.
Isn't wouldn't that be public domain though?
No.
To
I don't think
represent
so.
the
If it's a
exterior of a building?
private,
No.
I mean, if it was a Smithsonian where it would be like taxpayer dollars, you could say that's sort of public domain. But if it's a private hotel, private property,
Actually, there's actually a whole thing around this because there was something I saw this on one of the other games where they did everything like it is not quote unquote public domain, especially there if it was designed or if the shape of the edifice is unique to a designer and or a company. There is while there is a approval process you have to go through if you're going to leverage. So like if you use the Transamerica Tower in San Francisco, for example, you would have to sort of get permission to use it. Doesn't mean you have to pay the money, but there was a court case around the fact that those are basically designs of a designer. And you while you can represent it, you can't then monetize it. If you monetize it in a way that is specific to the building, you do sort of have to pay them.
So if I took landscape photos of Amsterdam and I published them and I even had
that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, if you take a picture if you took a broader picture of Amsterdam that had it in it, that's fine. If you take a picture of the one building and then you sort of do, then that gets trickier. I actually read this it was one of the other Call of Duty games, I think, where this came up, and there was a whole thing around the rules around it. So I think the idea is if the edifice we're running around in that hotel, I think there would be some sort of monetization that would have to happen. But I am not a lawyer, so I'll see if I can find it. I found an article on it before.
Yeah, I don't have any information on the inside, but I'm surprised that it's the outside that they're. So apparently the Greenberg Hotel, which is what the map is called, is apparently taken from what the museum or the hotel called Conservatorium Hotel in Amsterdam, and they were unaware. Apparently, says we have taken note of the fact that the Conservatorium Hotel is undesirably the scene of a new Call of Duty, and more generally, we don't support games that seem to encourage the use of violence. The game in no way reflects our core values, and we regret our apparent and unwanted involvement. So that tells me no one was talked to about this. Now, whether or not the interior is identical or not, remains to be seen. But yeah, I could see that. But how do movies? Movies have to pay the city to be able to shut down the city to make a film in their location, right? Where it specifically dictates that it's like New York or something like that. But where's the line drawn? I mean, I struggle with this because it just seems like, if it's something that is everybody can see and passerbys can see and everything else, it's no longer yours. It's one of those things where it's a building that's been there for X number of decades or centuries. Isn't it public domain by then? But
it's not. I'm trying to find this article. It is not a clear cut debate, I think. But places because there was one example here where in a game, which was they used the cathedral in Resistance Fall of Man. They used a Manchester Cathedral, and the Manchester Cathedral said, look, we own a copyright on the building, right? And it's a trademark and you can't use it. And they sued them. And Sony had to react, and literally it's really interesting because they use the inside of the cathedral in the game.
Oh,
so are we going to lose the map?
I think
we might.
Yes, I think we'll lose the map. I think it'll be easier just to lose the map, redo it, and bring it back in a different configuration.
Right.
I would think if if it's close.
I like
well,
that
so
one.
interestingly, there was a map called before the beta. There was a map called Marina Bay Grand Prix, and the map was called or it was modeled after the Marina Bay Street Circuit racetrack in Singapore. So apparently, didn't care for that, so they allowed them to rename it, called Crown Raceway now. But I think it still matches it a little bit too much. So is it just going to be if somebody complains they remove it, or are they going to go across the board and make sure that they have gotten the right release.
I bet they go back and look, but
Yeah.
they're not going to do anything
So-
unless somebody complains, I'd imagine.
So here's the so this one says, so the Sony one was interesting. The church didn't want guns running around in their church virtually, right? As you can imagine. The controversy raises questions around the range to which copyright law can extend. The church will have an uphill battle and legal claim against Sony, and indeed is likely there's no basis for the claim, but they could fight it. And if they fought it, you would end up in a thing. It says that it's a UK provision. It says that this include there's no copyright infringement to represent certain artistic works that are on public display. This includes sculptures and buildings which are permanently situated in public place or in the premises open to the public. Chapman pointed out the UK expires after 70 years. So it's probably, in other words, they could, but it would probably be a hard fight. But my guess is they take it off and they change it, right? Just probably easier than the controversy that it would generate, right?
All right. Well, final thing on this is there's this last thing I found is it says copyright laws surrounding the use of buildings and art are complicated. Obviously, as we know, many but not all famous structures such as the White House are safe to use. Generally speaking, private buildings made before 1990 are not protected by copyright.
That's a
The
U.S.
litigation.
law?
This is a U.S. law.
So that's
yes.
the 1990s. That's where the architects came in. So that's probably when it changed.
Yeah. The litigation against game companies using real buildings and places as inspiration is not unprecedented. And then there's this whole story about Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. There was apparently a location in the game that was very similar, if not the same, as a gentleman's club. And they went to court, and Rockstar won. So interesting. Well, I just thought that was really strange. And the worst part about it is the fact that Activision didn't bother to do their due diligence. And I think that is I'm flabbergasted, to be honest.
Or they thought they didn't have to, and they went forward with it. It could be the Pinto Ford scenario, Ken. Right?
Good
I mean, it's not worth the effort. They're like, we're going to win, so we'll just do it.
Right. Good analogy.
But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, what they could do, obviously, is give us the museum map back and just take that one out of rotation and tweak it and then bring it back, right?
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Let's see. We've got another little sketchy practice. I'm going to mention this only because this, I think, only affected me within this group. But apparently, Activision, the way they were selling the game, they had some perks that you could get if you ordered the Vault game. We know about that, extra characters and some loadouts and some stuff like that. But one of the other things that they offered were these tokens that you could use for double XP for an hour and stuff like that. And what was in the fine print is that if you ordered it through the portal within the Vanguard game or the Call of Duty game to order Modern Warfare 2, they would give you an extra load, like 10 tokens for XP, 10 tokens for weapon XP each. And but if you got it through other means, like for instance, got it through Microsoft's or Xbox's portal, you would not get those. And that was in the fine print that nobody really understood and nobody even took the time to read. But I noticed it a few days ago. You guys were all talking about, I got so many tokens, I got to play them. I had zero. I didn't have any. I'm like, did I spend them all? Surely I didn't. And then it turns out that's what was going on, is that I ordered mine through the Xbox portal. You guys probably ordered it through the game portals, and you guys got the extra benefits. The good news is Activision has kind of reversed that decision, and they have decided to give it to everybody who ordered it because they realized that, well, maybe they should have just done it all the way around instead of making it exclusive. So,
I don't remember, but I think I bought mine through the store and not.
I bought mine through the store too.
Same.
that's just what I read.
No, it's interesting. Are you sure you didn't buy yours through the game?
I'm pretty darn sure that I got it through.
So
I think I did it from a website, no less.
Well, that may have been it too, right? I think here's the challenge, right? I think this is the problem they've had with Battle, the BattleNet and all the other stuff, right? And also there's multiple versions on Xbox, so you could buy the PC version or you could buy the multi version. I think there's it's too confusing. There should be, if you have, look, if I go to every Starbucks in the world and I have Starbucks points, I can use Starbucks points. If I have them on PC or I have them on console, I should be able to use my tokens across their platform. This is not hard, right? But they make it hard. I've got thousands of COD points sitting in PC because I accidentally bought them there. Good luck trying to get help in a PC purchase, try to get that reversed. It's not possible. So they should make this easy. COD points are COD points. If you're going to make us sign into Battle.net, if you're going to make us sign into Activision, we should be able to get those points and be able to use them across platforms. If you want to put some sort of factor on it for whatever reason, fine. But the COD points are the COD points. They all go to you. We should be able to use them. End of rant.
No, I agree with you. So I think it should go across platform. If you have an Activision account and you signed in with that Activision account, those funds should follow you wherever you go. So if you end up going to PlayStation or whatever, you should be able to use those funds there. They shouldn't be exclusive to the platform. It should be exclusive to the account. And since they are Activision, monetary pieces or whatever units, then it should be a no-brainer. Follow the account.
Agreed.
Follow the money.
That's right.
Follow the money.
Always. Are we going to talk more multiplayer, Ken? Since we are now another weekend, or are we going to let it
go? Has anything changed? Let's ask that question. Has anything changed in multiplayer since we talked about it last time?
And will it change in the next 10 days before the Warzone map comes out? Is there anything?
I think we might get a couple maps before that. I don't know. I imagine we might get
10 days.
We might get DMZ or one of those maps before, I think, but I could be wrong.
DMZ is Warzone.
Is it? I thought it was Invasion, a different Invasion. Okay, never mind.
No, it's Warzone.
And maybe not.
Well, I will say we have tried some new game types. We tried Rescue. Was it Prisoner Rescue? Today we tried some of that. We've done it before, but we tried it today and we really enjoyed it. It's kind of cool where you have your team is either protecting the prisoners, holding them captive, or rescuing the prisoner. And so one guy gets to carry the prisoner, and then he's reduced to whatever secondary weapon is. If it's a handheld pistol or a knife, he has to carry him to the extraction zone while the other team has to protect him so he can do that. And if you're protecting you're guarding the prisoners, you have to prevent the other team from doing what I just said. So the nice thing about it is that when you die, you can be revived by your teammate, and that becomes a critical factor in success, I think. And I really enjoyed that. Maybe I don't want to say getting bored of the standard game types we have, because obviously the new Call of Duty has different maps and different weapons, so there's a lot to enjoy there. But I like having a different task, different mission, different objective to do in the game. So what do you guys think of that?
Yeah, there's one of us that doesn't do as well on those types of. Does anyone want to guess who that is? It's also the same guy who's the best at just all out.
Well, I think when we played Prisoner Rescue, how many times did I rescue the prisoner?
Were you at the top?
Was it 3?
Every time?
Yeah, so that's interesting. And
why do we always tear ourselves apart? Why? And why is it always you, Jason? Why is it always you?
It was backhanded compliment, because Josh is always at the top of the leaderboard.
I think it was backhanded. I'm not sure it was a compliment.
Probably always all over the headquarters, and
that's probably fine.
Josh, I appreciate your oversight of me when I'm running around like an idiot, so thank you.
I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting comment. I would always say, let's go look at stats. I mean, we should.
Hey, that reminds me.
Sorry, Jason doesn't let stats get in the way of his opinion, Josh.
Right.
This is something. This is a serious
well
topic.
said, Stuart.
How come the Call of Duty mobile app doesn't give you all the stats? It's not connected to this, or is there a separate mobile app? Because remember, we used to go there to look at our stats.
Yeah, I didn't think to do that for this.
Either have I.
I'm looking.
Hold on.
Well, too bad for you, Jason, because I could have completely debunked your theory there.
Apparently, I have gameplay data. It says I have no gameplay data.
Same.
So that's interesting that they decide not to tie it in, or they haven't done it yet. I'll have to look into that.
You can change. No, it's only those are the 3.
Oh, so Vanguard, Modern Warfare 1, and Cold War are the only 2 that they're having on their app. I think that's an oversight.
It's a shame.
Probably bring that.
Now,
back
is that one game studio? I can't remember.
It's all Activision, right? So if you go to callofduty.com, that's all owned by Activision.
So is there another?
And all 3 of those games were developed by different developers.
Let me circle back to make Jason's point constructive. I do enjoy the multiplayer more on this because I feel like even when I'm on the objective, I still feel satisfied with the amount of elimination that I do. So it's much more incentive for me to actually sit on the objective and do it the right way. So the Jason's face is surprised. I wonder what he's found.
This is
The other
totally a Ken app. Look at
What's it
this.
called?
It's
Warzone
called
and
Warzone
Modern
and
Warfare 2?
Modern Warfare 2 loadouts. It gives you all of the
For the guns and stuff?
yeah.
Or
It tells you. It tells you. Do you have it too, Stu?
oh my.
No, I don't know, but I'll see if I can. I wonder if it'll work on my. I wonder if it'll work on my Surface phone.
What are we doing? For the love of God.
Hey
Let's just
Josh,
go
what was
play.
that other game that we were
Oh, my
playing though
God.
that had the
Is that not the
revives?
loadout we were looking for?
That was
Shutout or
Knockout.
Knockout?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like both of those, and that's what I was going to say about the multiplayer. Is I feel like we all enjoy it, and I'm
Agreed.
hoping it stays that
agree.
way. I feel like it
I
hasn't.
love it.
When it's all four of us, it's awesome.
Right. Even when it's two of us, I feel like we have a good time. I think.
Mhm.
I think,
like-
and I hope it continues.
I agree, and I like that some of these games we have to revive each other. That you're not dead. I don't love the ones when you're dead, but
Yeah, I don't like spectating all that much.
But I will tell you, I'll warn you right now. When in 10 days, I will hate multiplayer. You know I will. I'll only want to play Warzone.
For 3 days, and then
No,
you'll eat something
no.
about it. You want to
Warzone-
go back.
Warzone has always kept my interest because it's like strategy.
Jason,
it's not just
Yeah.
But what I'll say to that is, yes, you will want to play Warzone, and we will all play Warzone with you. But don't be a jerk if the others want to play multiplayer.
Well,
after.
I agree. I also think we need to. I mean,
That's a big ask.
One of the key
just
things
in
we need
general,
to do.
Ken, not just necessarily about Warzone.
Amen, brother. I do think we need to make sure we rank up all the guns we're going to want before we get to Warzone, or we're going to be toast. I mean, we're already starting to see. I think so. Back to the difference between multiplayer last week and this week is so there's a lot more tip videos come out. There's a lot more people are figuring out the great loadouts. There's a lot more meta connect. So like we're seeing where we're getting, and the one thing about multiplayer that's different than the last ones, and this is what was on one of the videos that sent last night, is we should talk about some of that, but that like there's not room for error in this game. You get hit, you're dying, right? There's not a lot of the other games. You could take some shots. This one, a couple of shots and you're down. You really got to. You can't peek around corners like you used to.
Yeah,
There's no slide cancels. Right?
It's forcing us to take a closer look at our health, right? So we have to.
Some of us.
We definitely have to pay attention to that.
I will say that I heed Ken's advice on that, and it's helped. And I've started to play a little bit, just a teeny bit more like Ken, and it's definitely advantageous in the game. Because if you're just hauling ass around, you're gonna just get wasted.
Well, the other reason I play that like that is I don't have the accuracy to be able to just run around and run and gun. So I have to be a little bit more cautious and deliberate about how I aim and that kind of thing to be able to do any good. But there are times though that I rush around the map because I'm bored or whatever. And usually what that is to show you guys where the bad guys are when they kill me. So now you know where the shots are coming from.
The meat shield.
Like, yeah, exactly. Because I remember one Stuart was peeking around through a doorway, and he was doing it very, very cautiously. He was crouched, and I just blew right past him through the door, and I got killed. And I hear Stuart go, "All right, I got him." So it was basically I told him where the guy was, which is part of the point. It's like send a rabbit out or whatever. But no, I think what's going to help keep our interest in the multiplayer is going to be the rank ups, the unlockables that we still have to do for each weapon. Because I'm as we talked about before, I have a compulsion to actually unlock everything about the weapons except for the camos. I couldn't care less. The other things actually enhance the guns performance. So those are the things I want to unlock so that I can actually build the best weapon I can find that works for me. So having those type of unlockables and having the daily challenges, as we talked about, those things will definitely keep me going and keep me grinding. what will also help, hopefully, is that they will have different maps that they'll release. They'll cycle the maps. They'll have special events. They'll have different reasons to grind. I
Yeah.
think that would be important to be able to keep the player's interest. But I think all of these combined right now is definitely making me want to play as much as possible. So kudos to them for bringing something that really brought my interest back in the game.
The other thing I would say too is you have to be thoughtful about the weapon you use on different maps, because in Cold War or Vanguard, you could pretty much use the same loadout no matter what. But if you really have to be thoughtful about the map as well as your gameplay
Well,
type.
and
I
that's
agree.
interesting because we're limited on loadouts more on this game than we were in previous ones, which is a bit annoying, right? So something, hopefully, maybe they'll tweak that a little bit. I know
What do
there
you mean the
was,
number? The
yeah,
number?
yeah, yeah. The numbers are much less. We used to have what 10, 14 of them. Now we've got
No, you
really
can
you
have
come in with
10.
3, right?
No, but you can make up to 10.
You can, yeah, but you can only come in a game with 3. I mean, unless I'm missing it, every time I come in a game, I have 3 loadouts to choose from.
Oh, you can create
No,
more.
that's
I've created one for every weapon type.
All right, I'll
yeah.
tell it.
But
I saw some of the guys online complaining that there were less loadouts in this game than others, but maybe that's just
they
me.
may be referring to well, it brings us back to the gunsmith, right? So when you first play the game, you are very limited in what you can use, because, like, for instance, the M4, all you have is the assault rifle. You can't use any of the other gun types based on the M4 base. The SMG, the LMG, the battle rifle, you can't use those. You have to unlock them, and to do that is to max out the M4 base assault rifle, and then you can actually start using the other weapons. So there's a little bit. I understand that it's a little bit truncated or restrictive, but I think as that's another part of it for me is to, okay, I want to get to this weapon, so I know I have to unlock this, I have to unlock this, I have to unlock this. So that some of that grinding is what I'm enjoying right now.
Yep, same. Cool.
Well, Stuart, do you want to talk about that guy that you're the YouTube channel or YouTube you sent us about the tips? That was actually kind of funny.
Yeah, there's real quick. I'll touch on it. We'll talk through some. There's some really cool creators out there that do a lot of really good content, and a lot of the content they do, especially early on, is sort of giving us tips and tricks on best weapons and best loadouts and those kind of things. Well, there was one that I saw last night, which was, I think it was like 20. I'm trying to find it, like 24 myths or 27 myths. There we go. And it was fun because he really went through the different, like, can you do this? Can you do that stuff? Which we never have time to do. Right.
Well, we never take the time to do it.
Well, yeah, take the time, but it would take, I mean, you got to find, like for the sniper one, you'd have to find 7 friends, and we only have us.
Right.
So, but there was cool ones. Like, he's like, there were things like, can you survive? So for those of you who don't play the game, there's a thing called a trophy system, which will, like, when someone throws grenades or flashbangs at you, will reject them basically and explode them before they get to you. It's like, can you survive a cruise missile? Apparently you can survive a cruise missile with a trophy, but you can't survive a stealth bomber, which drops cluster bombs on you. So that kind of stuff. And then there's the coolest one. I thought there are a lot of cool ones, and I'll let you guys just chat on some if you want. But the sniper one was the funniest, where they had like 7 guys line up, and they said, okay, how far will a sniper bullet go if everyone's standing in line? And the answer was 6 people. Now I'm sure it's 6 people. They didn't really go that far back, so I don't know if it's got to be distance related as well. But so there, it was funny because, like, the first 6 guys drop, and the next guy's sitting there looking around going, "Oh, I'm okay."
Right.
So that was pretty funny. And then there was some other stuff he did I thought was really useful, which we can use in the game. So I thought that was pretty cool. Anybody else see any of that? Were interesting?
I agree. I enjoyed it. My wife was listening to me play it, and she's like, "What in the world are you listening to?" It's almost like he did a little Mythbusters, right? So, like, one of the things is, can you get over to the racetrack? So in racetrack, there's this big fence that separates you from the cars that are still driving by. And he was trying to find ways to get over there. And some of the things you can do is exploit the game. Like, okay, I'll just drop a bunch of care packages, which are giant crates, and you stack them up and you jump over there and see if you can get over there. Turns out there's an invisible wall that the developers
But they got up there. They just couldn't get over.
there.
I mean, because then they also put like barriers. They jumped on the barrier on top of barriers. By the way, the guy's name is Benny Central. So if you want to give him credit, Benny, BENNY Central. It's a great site.
Yep. I've seen him a couple. You sent some others from him, and
I did. He's one of the guys
good.
I watch. There's a couple. I did like the fact that, and this is important to note, that care packages will now kill you. Whereas in the old days, it would only kill you if it was your care package.
Yes.
Now it squishes anybody. And by the way, that was some of the funniest stuff when guys were getting squished by the care packages.
Agreed.
So that could be a tactic, actually. You know how normally you take your care packages away from the hard point? You could, if we wanted to really clear out a hard point, all drop care packages
right on top
at the same time.
Point.
That's right.
That is actually a good idea.
That's a good idea.
And there was a couple other things like stacking claymores, which could be good if you really wanted to have more blast damage and those kind of things.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought
Prevent
it was interesting.
people from jumping over them.
Yeah, it was fun though. And the one that I thought was, as an engineer, I thought was interesting was like if you hit somebody with an electric shock stick, it shocks them, but it doesn't kill them. But if they're in the water and you throw the you hit them with it in there, they will die of electrocution.
Nice.
Which is really not true because they wouldn't be grounded unless they were touching the bottom.
All right, nerd. All right, I get it.
Sorry, I'm just saying.
All right.
Science.
Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk about other stuff outside of Call of Duty and Activision. And we're back. All right, we got this. Jason wanted to talk about some VR stuff. You know, Jason, he loves his VR, so I'm gonna turn it over to him.
So there's a lot of talk in the VR game world about my friends that I've seen on Facebook have been playing it a lot. And I figured I'd bring this up because you guys are comic book geeks. But the game that everyone's talking about right now is Iron Man VR. It came out on both PlayStation and Oculus Quest. And what's cool is it's kind of like the perfect game for VR, right? Where you're in the helmet and you've got that view where you have the two controllers that can do all the different, I guess, powers that Iron Man has. But it looks really cool. The gameplay looks really fun, and my friends that have been playing it have been nonstop talking about it. So it is one I'll probably try. I don't know. I didn't see how much this thing cost. But and I did read there was something in here that said, you know, obviously the graphics on the PlayStation is a lot better than what you get in the Quest because the Quest is not as powerful as the PlayStation. The latest PlayStation is just like the Xbox, a pretty high-end processor and gaming engine and things like this. So it looks cool. I might give it a try. I'm not a big comic book fan, but it seems like the perfect game for VR, the perfect use case for that, or the perfect headset for.
Do we know whether or not you can plug in your Quest to your PC and get the power net necessary to get the visuals you're looking for?
I'm not sure. On this game, you can do the plug your Quest into your PC for some games, but I've not read that this one allows for that. But
I don't think it does. Maybe for the HTC, but I don't think it will for the Quest.
I like this. I think this is very cool. This is a great application of this because, you know, everybody's seen the movies. We saw Tony Stark in the helmet. You got the simulated video screen where you can see all of his specs of his suit while he's fighting crime or fighting the bosses. So it's pretty cool. I do like that fact. And I'd love to see that. So I may, when I come down, I may try to play that if you've gotten it by then.
What would be cool is if you could use the Quest Pro, Jason, to fly around your house.
Okay, that would be cool. Wow.
Well, this is a good question. So
Not literally.
Is there a different version for the Quest Pro?
No.
Okay.
No, there isn't. But I did, and I'll share it in. You can definitely connect your PC to your Quest 2. I just shared the link on how you do it. Your PC affords for a lot better graphics quality. You can use your headset powered by your PC on certain games. So it's not many people know about that, but it is a USB connector into your PC. I don't have as good a graphics card on my PC. This is like an all-in-one desktop studio, so it doesn't have like a really high-end graphics card. But if you do, you can.
That's interesting. I didn't think you could. That's interesting. That would go through the USB-C. That's interesting.
It's called Oculus Link.
Cool.
It kind of uses it like a Rift. Yeah, so give it a shot if you're a VR player and you are into Iron Man. Sounds cool.
Anybody else got any topics for maybe even Call of Duty or anything outside of Call of Duty?
No, I put the Simpsons arcade that I thought you thought was pretty cool. It's cheap too. It's $300. It's normally $800 or something. And it's going to be $300. It has Ken written all over it.
Yes. Oh, look at that! It's 4-player Simpsons arcade. Arcade 1-Up is the company that makes it. What is it? A 3/4? Yeah, it's 3/4 with a riser. Comes complete with a stool with the Simpsons logo on it. Looks like it's the the original Simpsons fighting game. That is fun. I remember playing that in the arcade. I struggle with the 1-Ups. I've played them before. They don't feel very real. They feel very flimsy to me. But maybe they've improved them since.
No, they are. But I think but the people who want an arcade and want that feeling is the cheapest way to get a full arcade, right? I think is the.
Well, the biggest problem I have with the 1-Ups is that they're usually only have 1 or 2 games and they're done. You know, so it's one of those things where you really, really, really have to like that game that you're going to spend 300 bones to be able to play that game, and that game alone on that big Hulk that you just dropped in the corner of the room.
Yeah, whatever happened to your I'm going to build an arcade?
So I shifted when I found one that was would have cost me the same amount of money. I was able to buy one, and it's got all the games I would ever want on it, and that thing is awesome. We play it. Cool. I played it the other day, actually.
Is that one of those like lappable ones where it's like a table and you play on the TV, or
no? This is a stand. This is a stand up. It's a full size stand up, and made by Legends. Is it Legends? I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember. Arcade. So but it's made by a company. I'm sorry, it's called At Games is the company that makes it, and it's called Legends Ultimate, and it is a full size stand up. It's got a very good quality screen. It's got 2 joysticks. It's got 2 spinners, and it's even got a trackball in the middle. So it basically supports multi-type games. They do also have a replacement top that you can put on there that actually adds for 4 players if you have like a 4-player Gauntlet or something like that. And I like it. And I was able to put a Raspberry Pi into it and get Commodore 64 games, Apple games.
Geek.
Yeah. Oh, I was jumping full into that, man.
Jason takes all the time to learn how to code a Raspberry Pi.
Yep, he sure does.
That's me.
So you completely abandoned it, Ken?
Did I completely abandon the build my own?
Yeah.
It's on the back burner, a very back burner. I've got other things I can do, but it was definitely high up on my list. I built the prototype. There was a handheld that you plug into your TV, and that worked great. There was just a little bit of it was just clunky, Of course, it was a prototype, so. But as far as building the table, the cocktail table, I probably won't go for that. The stand up works great. It fits into the house the way it does. So I enjoy it. And it cost me the same amount of money that I would have had to invest to make my own, build my own.
And it was done.
And it was complete when I put it in. I just had to assemble it, and it's kind of how do I make that better?
What is your time worth, Ken? What
exactly.
Is your time worth?
I mean, had I bought a fully restored Fiat, anyway. Yep. So, wouldn't have been as rewarding though, but I get it.
Yep.
So that's cool. I didn't get to try that when I was up there, so that'd be fun to play with.
Yeah. I'll have to make sure I clean my house next time so you can actually come into it.
I stayed in the driveway like you told me to.
I know. Well, we didn't want you tracking in any your anyway. So
you're coming to my house.
Apparently, I'm still up in the air whether I'm staying there. Apparently, so
it's more up in the air than it was a couple minutes ago. Jason, you're not smiling. What's wrong?
He's bored.
No.
Is it your new mustache that's making you look evil? Dastardly mustache.
Well, let's shift the conversation over from video games. So, has there been any shows or movies or? I saw Bullet Train recently. That's pretty fantastic.
Oh, I haven't seen it. So I was trying to watch it, but I didn't want to pay for it. So I'm going to wait till it comes out on one of the 15 things I already pay for. So I
Out
don't
in
know when that's going to
November
be.
when I'm there.
Sure.
So
Somebody
You can bring
tweeted
it.
out a movie. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding.
Anything new? I don't think it's been a big sports couple weeks, so I don't know if we've seen anything in the Brown
has.
household. Jason's the streaming god. Jason, you said you saw something you liked, new thing, right?
It was a movie, not a series. Get Out, or sorry, not Get Out. It was actually by the same guy that did Get Out. It's Nope.
Oh,
So Jordan Peele, he does a really nice job. I mean, hilarious comic, but also a really talented filmmaker. So if you haven't seen Nope, I highly recommend it. It's sort of down that same.
Seen all of his movies.
Yeah,
He's
all
only
of his
made
movies are
3,
great.
and they're all horror based, and they're like thriller horrors, and they're really well done. He's almost like M. Night Shyamalan in his prime. You know, really good twists, very good storytelling, a little bit of humor. I agree with you, and I think Nope was, in my opinion, Nope was probably the least of the 3 as far as.
I agree, but still good. That's the same thing we said.
Don't get me wrong. It was a really good movie, but I found it to be the other 2 were I found much better, much more engaging. But yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Josh, I think you can watch those. Those won't freak you
I
out.
haven't seen any of them. They're too
What?
scary for me. They're too scary for me. No, I do want to watch. I do want to watch a couple of them because I've heard nothing but good things.
And then in terms of shows, we just started watching season 2 of The White Lotus on HBO Max. If you haven't seen The White Lotus season 1, I highly recommend it. Episode 1 of season 2 is good, but if you recall season 1, episode 1, you probably said the same thing, which is like, yeah, it's pretty good.
yeah, yeah. I think the only other thing that we just finished, I think we talked about it last week, was House of the Dragon, which I know not everyone's watched, but it was good. It was really good, and it was it's redeeming the
It's
horrific
done?
season. Yeah, it was 10 episodes.
Oh, wow.
So season 1's done, but it set up an amazing. It wasn't the cliffhanger. It wasn't a huge cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger, but it was the way the characters develop. I was telling my wife that it's like the one thing about those characters, the way they developed the characters so well in the show. And it was like the early days of Game of Thrones before it went off the rails and ran out of story and they had to make stuff up. This is really good, and George is involved. So it's probably why he's not writing books. But it was good, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought it was, if you haven't watched it or if you're on the fence because you were so disappointed with season 8 of Game of Thrones, which I completely understand because it was horrible, I highly recommend watching The House of Dragons. It was really well acted. The guy that plays Viserys, the king, if he doesn't get an Emmy, I don't know who should, right? He was brilliant as King Viserys, and how he went through the season. And when he gets, there was just spoiler alert, there's a time jump, a big one in the series. But
There's several.
Man, he's brilliant. He is absolutely brilliant. When he's on screen and Matt Smith is on screen, they are brilliant. And the women in there are really good too. So highly recommended. Good show.
And you don't have to, like you keep saying,
Nope.
that you don't need to see or have completed Game of Thrones, which is cool.
At all. Matter of fact, it's even better if you do. I mean, it happens 200 years in the past. So no. And the nice thing is not, some people that didn't get into Game of Thrones, 63 episodes scare them, right? And they're like, I don't know if I want to get into that. So it's like, as a husband, sometimes you want to get your wife into something that's like, oh, she doesn't want to do 63 episodes. 10 is doable, right? To get into a new series. It's very like, it's very, it's like The Crown meets, fantasy, right? I mean, it is a high drama when it comes to political intrigue when it comes to court. It's really quite interesting. So well done.
Interesting. Yeah, it's on my list to watch, but I haven't had a chance to sit down and start watching it yet.
I did see, and I'm happy about this, and I hate to say I'm happy about this because I love season 1, that Westworld is no longer with us, which I think is probably best for everyone.
Yeah.
That one
After
lost
season
me.
3, after season 2, the numbers went down. And season
just
3,
got bad.
and then season 4, the numbers went down even further. and HBO decided to just discontinue it. But what's interesting is that the creators had a five
Yep.
season story arc that they wanted to
Yep.
tell. So it's a little disappointing that they can't finish their story, because I would like to see how this thing ends. But it was starting to get like lost. It was starting to get to the point where I'm like, I don't care about these people anymore.
I 100% agree. It got really. It didn't. The characters lost their hook. Season 1 was amazing.
Yeah, and 2 for that
I
matter.
mean, but first
I
of
thought
all,
they were great.
But who made season 1 amazing? But I mean, the actors were great. But I mean, Anthony Hopkins. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Every time Anthony Hopkins, he acts with his eyes, his ears, his face. He's just amazing.
Yeah, he's pretty
And
incredible.
season 2 sort of started to dwindle. Once you lost him, it became sort of.
If you liked season 1, I mentioned this last time, but I think, Stu, you would love that Peripheral show.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very Westworld-like.
I'll definitely. Yeah, I'm going to watch it. I haven't had a chance to yet, but I've got some.
That's a
flights coming
Prime
up.
Video game, right?
It is. And it's from the maker of Westworld.
So that's So that he also made something else, but the premise there is that they create a virtual world within technology or something like that. How's it?
I won't
Yeah.
spoil any of it.
You can't ruin
it's
it?
really good. Really,
All right,
really
we'll
good.
watch it. We'll watch it. We'll watch it.
All right.
The only other thing I will say from a geekdom perspective, and I think this is not related to a spoiler, though, at this point, if you haven't watched it, it's okay. But Henry Cavill is coming back as Superman in the DCEU. That's a big deal. Right?
I agree.
And he's leaving The Witcher for multiple reasons. But one is because he doesn't think he can do both. Two, he really had a lot of conflict, if you read, with the makers of The Witcher, because they started getting away from the canon. And he is the ultimate wargamer, right? He is, like, when it comes to Witcher and the books and wargaming, I mean, Henry Cavill is a big, hunky dude. He builds his own PCs and paints his own Warhammer figures, right? This is a guy that's
he's a nerd.
He's just the best looking nerd in the world. That's all.
Absolutely.
And he can beat up all the other, or protect all the other nerds, which would be great. But anyway, The Witcher was frustrating. You could tell, like the interviews he did last year, where he was just like, I'm the guy in sets always arguing, say he wouldn't do this or we should do that. And I think they just kept going in the direction. He said, I'm just going to go be Superman. And I think that's great. It's The Witcher will not be the same without him. And frankly, it was already starting to turn a little rancid anyway. And now I think it's going to be worse. Frankly, the only good episode of The Witcher in my mind, Ken, you and I watched most of them. Most of them together, was the first one, which was the sort of Beauty and the Beast one, and after that, it was sort of like, eh. So.
Yeah, it was a little odd. I wish they would have done a little bit more of an overarching story that
like
drove
a story arc.
through. Right,
It's overarching.
I wish they had a small thread, a bigger thread between the episodes for each season. But it seemed like it was very thin, and each episode could almost stand on its own. And even then, it became less and less engaging. No, I agree. Although I will say I really do like Liam Hemsworth. He did.
Oh, me too.
He did a movie on Tubi. Anybody remember Tubi?
No.
So Tubi was that short-lived smartphone television network that you could only watch on your phone. And anyway, he did a movie where he got himself into financial trouble, and he had to kill and survive, kill someone, and then survive all these hitmen to be able to get money to get it back. And the cool thing about the Tubi was that it was AR. So as you're watching the show, you could actually turn your viewpoint to see different aspects.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, different aspects of the movie. Look at different actors as they're speaking, or if they're not speaking, to see how they react. It was actually really interesting. But that was the highlight of Tubi, was that, and that they actually ported that over to Netflix or something. I'll find the name here in a second. I can't remember.
All the Hemsworth boys are good. Even though Liam didn't he marry what's her name for a while? Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
Oh, or maybe they're still married. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I just think it's a tough role when you take over someone who is in the role. I think it's always tough. So
yeah,
great.
it's gonna be a struggle for him. Yeah, it was called The Most Dangerous Game, which is based off the book.
Cool.
So that I highly recommend you guys try to find that.
What's it on?
That's a good question. What they move it to?
But it's after that short story. Was it a short story or was it a full book? Because I remember reading that.
I think it's a good question. I think it was a short story.
Yeah, it was a short.
But I don't recall. I read it too a long time ago. But I've always loved that story, and I've seen there's been a couple different iterations of it. I think there was a movie as well. But apparently, this is actually it was Quibi. I'm sorry, I said Tubi. It's
Yeah,
Quibi.
I was gonna say
Quibi. I'm sorry.
Now-
You guys got to correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me.
if
Josh
we didn't
is
watch
getting-
it, how are we going to correct you?
Josh is getting antsy because the Bucks are almost on.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll try to
Did they
close
lose?
this up then? They just started. Did they already
Soon
lose?
enough, Stuart.
Oh.
Soon enough.
Remember, Giselle's still on the market, Josh.
I told you.
Oh boy.
Haven't seen her yet.
Not on the apps.
All right. We'll go ahead and close this out. Appreciate the listener joining us again, and thanks guys for getting together. And we'll close out. This is Old Guys Playing Games. I'm Ken.
I'm Stu.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Josh.
Yay!
I have it written on my sticky. It's staying right there forever.
Good job, Stuart. I'm so
I almost
proud
got
of you. I'll give
I
you
get
a
a
gold
cookie.
star when
Can
I
I
get
can I
home.
have a cookie? Oh, that'd be great. Bring me a sticker.
Bye.
Bye.